The Mandela Effect is a pretty interesting phenomenon. I assume most of you already know what it is. For those that don't, I'll give a really brief explanation. It's basically a collective false memory. So, tons of people remember something the wrong way, and it started because Nelson Mandela was widely thought to have died in prison, when in fact that actually never happened. And I know this was pretty popular on the internet for a time. I ran into a few that I thought were just outright dumb, that I did not agree with. I think people were taking it a little bit too far, trying to get clicks. Well, throughout that whole phase where the Mandela Effect was popular until now, there are a few things that have really stuck with me, and I'm convinced that something's going on. And what's actually happening? Is the universe forgetting things, or is there parallel universes that we're traveling to? I have no idea what the explanation is, but they're interesting nonetheless. The first one is going to be the most common one, and if y'all bear with me here, I am going to try to get to some things that I believe most of you have not heard of after this that may be more convincing. But this one, to be honest, could be the most convincing because everyone I have talked to almost agrees with the original meaning, and that is the Berenstain Bears, or as it is now called, the Berenstain Bears. Honestly, this should be called the Berenstain Effect because, man, everyone I have talked to remembers it the same way that I have, as Berenstain, and at least 90 to 95% of people online. I actually dug a little deeper, only to find that Berenstain isn't even a real last name other than the man and his wife themselves. However, Berenstain is a last name. Kinda strange, huh? Alright, the next one is where things start to get even weirder. This one actually has a very personal meaning to me because I experienced it firsthand. It all started from a 4chan post a couple weeks ago. I saw this post saying, "The time we swapped to the Fruit Loops timeline, how did we even make it back?" At first I didn't think too much of it, and then I unlocked a memory. I think the year was about 2017, and my brother was sitting in the kitchen on his laptop looking through Mandela Effects, and he found one that really puzzled him, and he brings me over and says, "How is Fruit Loop spelled?" I said, "I don't know, it's probably F-R-O-O-T. He said, "Wrong, it's F-R-U-I-T now." And I said, "Well, I never ate that many Fruit Loops anyway, I guess it could have always been that." He said, "No, it was definitely F-R-O-O-T. But we looked it up, and everywhere on the internet, it showed it with the F-R-U-I-T spelling." I was kind of confused. I said, "I guess we were wrong. You probably imagined the double O in fruit, since the loops has a double O." But he said, "I cannot believe it. There's just no way." And now, fast forward to 2024, when I saw that 4chan post, I looked it up, and I realized we were back to every box of Fruit Loops saying F-R-O-O-T. Everywhere online says F-R-O-O-T. Every box says it. But I remember it happening to where it said F-R-U-I-T. Further down on this thread, someone even said it used to be the Mandela Effect that it changed from being spelled fruit with double O to the actual spelling of fruit, F-R-U-I-T. I remember this very clearly, and it was not that long ago. It wasn't just this person. There are people all over the internet who remember this temporary switch as well, along with me and my brother. I asked my brother about this, and he also remembers the whole situation. Very, very weird. Another famous example of a switch comes from the statue The Thinker, and this statue depicts a man resting his chin on his wrist. However, people claim that for a short period of time, it switched to where he was resting it on his forehead, and this was a Mandela effect for a while on the internet, like the Fruit Loops one. However, now it is back to being on his chin. Although that one didn't have much personal connection to me, one more that does is the Fruit of the Loom logo, because people remember it with a cornucopia, although it does not have it. I actually went up to my brother and said, "Do you know what the Fruit of the Loom logo is?" And he says, "Oh yeah, the one with the cornucopia," without me ever mentioning anything. I thought that was kind of funny. But there are also people who claim that there's evidence of this former change, such as in the movie The Ant Bully, in one frame, where it shows a similar logo with the cornucopia. The final one that I'm going to mention today also has no personal connection to me, but I just wanted to include it because of how adamant everyone online is about this one in particular. And it comes from the movie Moonraker. Personally, I never grew up watching this, but people that did swear that the character Dolly had braces, and this largely becomes a scene because one of the main characters, Jaws, smiles and shows metal in his mouth, and then Dolly smiles back, showing braces, and that's what they bond over, is having metal in their mouth. Now, Dolly does not have braces. The scene is kind of weird and makes no sense. And if you look this up, the amount of people online that swear as a child she did have braces without a shadow of a doubt is pretty astounding. And that makes it a bit convincing, although I didn't grow up with this one personally. I could go on and on about smaller examples, some of them also pretty convincing, but before I end the video, I want to ask you guys, why do you think this happens? Is it simply we all collectively have bad memory? A lot of people believe that maybe the universe just makes mistakes. There's so much data in the universe, so much material to be encoded, and there could be small errors over time that mess up. Other people think that we transfer over to parallel universes that are 99.99999% similar with really small differences. And if you say, how come this seems to happen with very mundane things and there's no major historical Mandela effects, that would be because it creates too big of a difference to where your universe isn't even the same anymore, but something so small like a Fruit Loops box might be forgotten. And back in the day, no one would have noticed this, but now that we have technology and we can all communicate and we have pictures of things, people have become a lot more aware of when Mandela effects actually occur. But whatever the reason is, leave it down below. Everyone, have a good one.